buzzed. A rare occurrence these days. It was an email from Sarah's assistant, a sterile reminder about an upcoming family wedding. Margaret wasn't invited, but they thought she should be aware it was occurring. "They're all gathering next month," Margaret said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "My niece's wedding. They'll all be there. David, Sarah, Michael, their spouses, the grandchildren. Everyone except me." "How does that make you feel?" Carmen asked, using the careful tone professionals reserve for moments of potential breakthrough. Margaret stood and walked to the secretary desk, pulling out one of her unsent letters. "It makes me feel like writing a different kind of letter. Not an apology this time, not an explanation, but a declaration." She sat at the desk, her posture echoing decades of proper penmanship training. "They want to protect their inheritance? Fine. Let's talk about inheritance. Let's talk about what we owe each other beyond money. Let's talk about the cost of throwing away a mother." Carmen watched as Margaret began to write, her hand firm despite her age. The afternoon light caught the silver of her hair again, but this time it looked less like age and more like armor. "They think they're writing the end of this story," Margaret said, not looking up from her task. "But I'm still here. I'm still their mother. And I'm not finished yet." The grandfather clock struck 5, its chimes echoing through the house like a call to arms. Outside, the maple leaves had stopped their dance, settling into the growing dusk. Margaret continued writing, each word a brick in a new foundation, not a wall to keep her children out, but a platform from which to reclaim her voice. "Same time next week?" Carmen asked, gathering her things. Margaret nodded, not looking up from her letter. "Yes. And Carmen, bring those support group details. I think I'm ready to meet other people who understand." As the social worker left, Margaret sat in her growing strength, surrounded by the ghosts of the family she'd had, and the reality of the woman she needed to become. The letter beneath her pen wasn't just to her children anymore, it was to herself, a roadmap for navigating the foreign territory of being unmothered by her own offspring. The house settled around her with its familiar creaks and sighs, but for the first time in months, the silence didn't feel like abandonment. It felt like potential, like the pause before a symphony, like the deep breath before speaking truth to power, even when that power wore the faces of the children she'd once cradled in arms that had never stopped aching to hold them. The wedding invitation arrived on a Tuesday, not to Margaret.